We are live, and I am not delayed, right? You guys can hear me. Let's try it one more time, Stig. 1. Oh, he got me. 8. 1.
2.
Okay. Welcome everybody to Wednesday night.
Scared you, didn't I?
Yeah, you got me. I was seriously starting to be like, oh no. Perfect timing it would have been. That was a good one. I'll give you that, Stig.
You walked right into it.
I did, didn't I? I walked right into that. There was like that moment where I said 1 and he didn't say anything. I'm like, is he messing with me? But he held it for so long. I was like, oh my God, he's not messing with me. So we'll be good. We'll be good. It'll be fun tonight. As always, Robo Spork might make an appearance. You know,
the night is dark and full of terror.
Yes, it is. He's the king of the north. So welcome everybody to Wednesday night. It is our last Wednesday night book club, which will be moving to Monday nights. We will be doing our book club Monday nights and then occasionally throwing in a winter prediction stream on Monday nights or finding a different date that works for people, date and time. So we'll have some fun with this one. Let me introduce my guest though. First, below me, Miss Martin Muses.
Hello, hello.
Hello. How are you this fine evening?
I am surviving.
You know what? Sometimes that's the best you can do, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm with
drinking
you.
a watermelon 0-calorie soda. All is well in the world.
Sounds like you're melancholy.
Oh, God. So wait a minute, Teresa. Watermelon? Is it watermelon like sparkling water, or is it watermelon soda?
It's watermelon sparkling soda.
Yeah, I've been getting into that. Right now, I'm drinking it. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, it's called bubbly.
Oh, I've had that stuff. That stuff's good.
It is. It's seriously good stuff.
Yeah, I'm drinking LaCroix, and it's tangerine.
Ooh.
I'm pretty fancy.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for being here tonight, and your cat. And next to me, the great, the one, the only, first of his name, the one true king of Westeros, Stig Stannis Baratheon Kenobi.
Thank you, Sir Devas.
You're welcome.
I'm drinking black currant tea.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
With it's a big cup, so I put 3 little cubes of sugar in it. And I'm staying warm.
Is it real cubes?
Oh, I'm so jealous.
Yeah, sugar cubes.
What? Okay, so I've seen them before. I've actually used them. We don't usually. It's like loose sugar around here. But what's black currant tea? What makes that special? It's just good.
Yeah, it's good. It's I don't know what's in it. Cherry or something? I don't know.
Oh, black currants in it. You see, we don't have it over here in the States. We don't have a lot of black currant flavored things. You got to go over to Europe to get it and then bring it back like a psycho in your suitcase. Not that I've ever done
smuggling.
That. Not that I've ever done that.
Yeah, don't forget we're live right now.
Yeah.
What is currant though? I don't know. I've never heard of that in terms of tea before. Is that a spice or seasoning of some sort?
No, I think it's the color of the berries and stuff being used.
Okay.
The black currant is an actual a black currant is an actual like berry. It's an actual plant.
Oh.
It's called black currant. So it's a plant. It's kind of very, very dark. It looks like a very, very dark blueberry, a cross between a blueberry and a grape.
And why don't we have it here? Do you know?
Because we suck. Well, it's probably just because it doesn't grow here.
Okay.
It's a civilization thing.
Yeah. Okay.
You said smugly.
we are the frontier. I get that. We are the pups of the world. All right. Well, maybe one day I'll have to have Stig smuggle it over for me. I want to try it now. Does it taste like? What does it taste like? Anything you could relate it to?
It tastes like black currant.
I know, but I don't know what that tastes like.
Go to the international aisle, and sometimes you'll find under the British area a bottle of black currant, like juice.
Okay.
And that'll give you a bit of an idea, because you can mix that up with water, and in Ireland it's okay for ladies to put a little bit of that in Guinness. Just saying.
How about if I someday send some blackcurrant tea to Teresa and she'll send you some?
Oh,
Okay.
I'll share.
Yeah,
it's sweet of you both.
I'll put a little note on it and tell it it's for that sporking fellow.
Okay, I'm all for that, Steve.
Yes, I'd be honored, and I would thank you both. So, oh yeah, I forgot we're live. So let's say hi to the chat. We got about 10 people in here, and we have first one usually. She's either first or second, Tina Bojan, and she says, "Good evening, friends, as usual." Tina, one of my biggest supporter of like everybody in the fandom, really. But she's like one of the first people to get my back. What?
I think she just shows up for Teresa.
You know what? Then I'll take it.
Could be.
Well, everyone likes to show up for a rose.
Oh. Yeah.
There's rows and rows of people.
Oh, Well, Tina, we all appreciate you. Thank you for being here. And supposed to be one of our guests tonight on the panel, Lady Tauriel, is having some issues with her internet and her phone. Hopefully she'll pop in at some point. And she says, "Hi, Tina."
It's
brutal
the,
morning.
It's the bloody orcs. She had to take care of those.
Yeah, those orcs. Yeah. They're ists. Those orcs are ists. Brutal Morningwood says, "Hail and hey, howdy, hey." Hey to you. McKinney 90. Good afternoon. I paused after that one, Stig, after Brutal Morningwood, because I thought you would say something funny and you didn't.
What?
I feel dumb.
I didn't see it.
You always say something funny, and I never give you a chance to say it, so I was trying to like give you that chance.
About this one?
No, Brutal Morningwood.
Hello there.
I like that. I was gonna like, he's standing at attention. All right, McKinney 90. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to GOT, which is Game of Thrones. If you're new here, live chapters 61 through 63. Please share, and if you enjoy, smash that like button. It really does help. I hate having to ask people to do this stuff, but if you can, hit like, hit share. I got my the stats for the last month of YouTube, and I total of 1 new sub, and I didn't even care because of all the other stuff that it shows as your community, like all the likes and the comments and stuff like that. It was awesome to see that. Like I have an active community that enjoys like, BSing with each other in the chats and stuff. It's so cool. So
then I beat you because I got 3 subs.
See, congratulations, man. You're killing it. You are killing it.
It's all those 80s commercials.
All those 80s.
Yeah, Mentos.
Mentos, the fresh maker.
Yeah.
Hey, who's this? Miss Martin Muses.
Hello.
With the wave with the rose every time.
It's the Spank the Rose.
Spank that rose. And one of my favorite people that I never get to see anymore is Miss Sarcastic Nerd. Hiya, Sporks. How you been? One of the best. She's awesome and super funny. So I'm glad that she's here.
It's her birthday soon. She turns 6.
Wow.
What? Gonna go to first grade.
Yeah, big girl. We also have another birthday girl that couldn't be here tonight, and that's Christie.
Yay.
Yeah. So happy birthday to you both. And Miss Sarcastic Nerd, thank you so much. I'm really honored that you're here. I appreciate it. Adega Outlaw. Oh, Funge. Forgot I don't have a wrench here. You don't have a wrench, dude. That's weird.
That's gut wrenching.
Oh, and
you're gonna. Oh, yeah. Go ahead, please.
Oh no, I'm just gonna say you got something very pink.
What? Hold on one second.
Chat.
No. All right. Oh yeah, it's right below there. Oh, Nick, come on, Nick McCabe for $60 Australian. Holy cow! Hi everyone. Can't stay long. Sam and I are at work. Have some money. They just did the same thing. Yeah, go ahead.
They do that a lot, and I'm starting to think the Australians aren't that oppressed.
Yeah. They're some type of maybe gangsters of some sort. I don't know,
Yeah.
but I appreciate it. They just did this last night to Steven too. I think it was Sam who did it, and they pretty much said the same thing. You guys rock. These Australians, they're some of the good ones.
Mm-hmm. They're smuggling that. They're smuggling blackcurrant. That's what they're doing.
Right.
That's where they're getting all their money from.
They know who to come to. Then they know who to come to because
I could have done that. Shit.
It's not too late now.
Oh, it's too late now because I drank the last one.
Damn it. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. And do we have anybody else here? Oh, according to Christie, one of my channel members. Sup, biatches? Stuck at work, so entertain me. How will it feel that we entertain you with your own voice in a few moments? That's what's going to be fun. Yes. And we got a Deviant Porg, otherwise known as Palanuki. Hi, everyone. And he's from France. I always find that kind of cool. He was my one of my first international guys that kept coming. It's funny, Australians and Europeans always are on the live streams. I don't know why, because isn't it really late there right now, Stig?
It's only late if you're a pansy.
Ah, yes. Yes. I like it. Bite me, vacuum bag. I think that's for you, pal.
You shouldn't talk to Teresa like that, miss. Come on.
Oh! Getting you in trouble. Oh my God. But she does say, I'm going to try reading Game of Thrones at some point. You really should. It's anyone who did you watch the show? Because it's not the same. The first couple seasons might be a little bit they're a lot the same, but little things are changed. But after season 3, it starts changing.
Oh yeah. If you're thinking about watching the show, then do not.
Right. Just read the books. That's what I would say. And they're amazing. And we are, as Jayne Theory would say, we're going to get all the books. We're going to get all the books. George is going to write all the books. All right. Put that out there in the universe.
Thank you, Annie Wilkes. Sorry.
That was good. So let me ask you guys, we're reading we're doing our usual 3 chapters tonight. We're starting with Dany. We're going on to, I think Dany 7 or 8, Tyrion 8, I believe, and Cat 10. Anything you want to talk about prior to going into the books or the chapters, or should we wait till after?
Sure, let's wait till after.
Okay. All right.
This is I'm doing the last Tyrion. No, I'm not. Second to last Tyrion chapter of the book.
Is it really? Well, what do we have? Maybe 11 chapters left, I think. So we're getting close to the very end. This has been a journey with you guys. Mm-hmm. This is only one of the books. We got so much more. And my fear is we're going to finish the books and George still won't have The Winds of Winter out. So that's my fear. But
yeah.
No, go ahead.
We've only got 4 years.
If that happens, though, we still have the Dunk and Egg book.
That's true.
That is true.
Oh, the Dunk and Egg books are fantastic.
Mm-hmm. They're no fun.
And after that, there's always mass suicide.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we could go what was that, Heaven's Gate route?
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, you could just put rat poison in the blackcurrant tea.
Oh, Teresa, don't send me any of that currant tea, okay?
No, now I'm not going to drink anything you send me, Stig.
Nice. So we're going to start out with Dany and the birthday girl. Christie was supposed to, she was going to cover that chapter, but what she did instead, which is really, really nice of her, was, you know what? I forgot. I did a boomer move. Boomer. I forgot to share it with audio. I'm pretty sure I would have to do that. So let me try that again. But she did record it.
Christie sounds way better when she's quiet, though.
You know what Christie would say if she were here?
Yeah, she'd say, "Kiss my grave."
Yes, she would. Yes, she would. So you guys need to let me know if it's coming up on your end. I see it.
Mm-hmm, I see.
Oh my God, I see it. Christie wants to let you know that, Stig, that's for you. Okay. Okay.
I'm not affected by it after having had it 50 times.
Yeah, you guys abuse each other, and I love it. The Time Prophet says, "Hey, hello." Whoa, she's saying kiss my entire arse this time. All right, let's break it up, people, and let's right.
Let's Christie, my darling, you tease.
Okay, with that, let's listen. And you see Danny has purple eyes in this. That's pretty cool. All right, here we go.
Daenerys moved through the trampled fields, filled with the dead and wounded around the burning town of the land, or Lazarene. Khal Drogo was attacking the town when Khal Drogo arrived. Daenerys remembers that Khal Drogo was among those who shared the high bench at the feast when Viserys was crowned. However, this is not Vos Dothrak, and Daenerys suspects some of the villagers probably mistook them for deliverance. But once Khal Drogo was defeated, Drogo's Khalasar plundered the town just as badly. Now, the captives from both the village and Oko's Khalasar are being collected for slaves. To an outsider, the Lazarene look similar to the Dothraki, but now Daenerys can plainly see the differences. In addition, the Dothraki captives do not seem to fear slavery, while the villagers assemble about in fear and sorrow. Mormont meets Daenerys at the entrance to the village. Night brings him has killed Khal Drogo and his son, taking only minor wounds. He also heard of the rival Khalasar has fled, but there could still be as many as 10,000 captives. Sir George says he has suggested they drive south to me, where they will fetch a better price.
So that was robotic, huh?
Yeah, I don't think Christie reads too well.
That was really robotic. Damn it! How am I a boomer when it's Christie. My internet? Yeah, that was hashtag Robo Christie this time. Oh man, this sucks. You damn how am I the boomer? How am I the boomer, Christie? So. All right, we'll do it a different way.
Miss Sarcastic Nerd says it sounds like Satan.
Oh my God, Christie might be. Well, how did it did sound like that? It was like,
Well, no, that was my Satan voice.
Oh, okay. Storyman Jack showing up and going right at me. That's why I love him. Storyman Jack, you might know him as George B.D. Lucas. Give him a follow. Check out his YouTube channel. He's awesome. He's a writer, really breaks down stuff. I enjoy his content, and I'm hoping at some point I actually finish The Sandman by Neil Gaiman, and we could actually do something together with that, but I haven't had the time to listen to it yet. Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, everybody, I got it. We'll like Satan. Yeah, okay. Hey, yeah, that's me. Lady Tauriel, please come back to us. All right, so we'll go over this real quick. We have Danny is coming in after the sacking of the Lazarene, which the Dothraki call the Lamb Men. There was already a Khalasar, like Christie was saying, if you might not have heard that. There was already a Khalasar there that was attacking Lazarene when Khal Drogo's Khalasar showed up. When that Khalasar showed up, they fought the other Khalasar, defeated them, and then sacked the city. So you would think Danny thinks like these Lamb Men must have thought they were their saviors, but ended up, being again just another kind of tyrant. And I'm trying to bring up the page so I can read the rest of it. So here we go. You also have in this, so during this battle, Khal Drogo took some injuries, minor injuries, they say. You also have Dany noticing the difference between, she says that, yep.
Christie sent a link so you could play it through YouTube.
I was playing it through YouTube.
Oh.
Yeah.
Christie, this isn't helping.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I mean, you could play it in the background and listen to it, guys. I am getting to the thing right now, and we will be on it in a second. And this is horrible YouTube, but you know what? It's my YouTube, so bear with me. All right, here we go. I will jump ahead a little bit. And so now the captives from both the village and Ogos, so the Khalasar was ran by Ogo, that's who Drago defeated, are being collected for slaves. To an outsider, the Lazarene looks similar to the Dothraki, but now Daenerys can plainly see the difference. In addition, the Dothraki captives do not seem to fear slavery, while the villagers stumble about in fear and sorrow. Sir Jorah Mormont meets Dany at the entrance to the village. The knight brings news that Drago has killed Khal Ogo and his son, taking only minor wounds. He also informed her that most of the rival Khalasar has fled, but there could still be as many as 10,000 captives. So Jorah says he suggests they drive the slaves south to Meereen, where they will fetch a better price, more than enough gold to hire ships to bring them back to the Seven Kingdoms. As she watches the carnage around her, Dany can only think about the price of the Iron Throne. The scenes of rape disturb Dany the most. She orders Sir Jorah and her bodyguards, Jago and Caro, to stop the rape of a wailing girl. Sir Jorah tries to explain that this is not wise since she is depriving the riders of their reward for shedding blood for their Khal. Jago and Caro point out that the Dothraki believe the girl should feel honored, and even Dany's handmaiden, Irri, is it Irri? Agrees. Dany is not dissuaded and commands Sir Jorah and the others to stop the rape. Sir Jorah declares that she truly is Rhaegar Targaryen's sister and obeys. Stopping the rape requires the death of two of the rapers. When this is totally not going to be a stream that gets any monetization. I've said that word so many times. When asked what to do with the girl, we'll say the grape girl, Dany commands Dora to tend to her hurts, mainly because the blonde-haired lice girl does not look Dothraki. Dany then rides on into the settlement and begins to rescue all the other grape victims she sees. Sir Jorah tries to explain that she cannot save them all, but Dany refuses to believe him. Daenerys finds Drago with an arrow through his arm and a raka cut, that's the sword they use, cut that has taken off one of his nipples. Drago insists that they are only scratches and boasts that he personally slew not only Ogo, but also his son Fogo, who was Khal after Ogo. Dany praises her husband. Then a warrior named Mago, all the O's, who rides with the Khas of Kojogo, rides up with angry words about Dany's actions. After listening to both sides, Drago explains to Dany that grape is part of the Dothraki way of war. Dany insists that the Lazarene women should be made wives and given a place in the Khalasar. A blood rider named Kotho asks hauntedly if a horse breeds with sheep, but Dany replies that a dragon feeds on both horses and sheep. Drogo laughs at this and proclaims that his son inside her has made Dany fierce. The Khal goes on to tell Mago to find another lamb to mount, as these belong to his Khaleesi. When Drago reaches out to Dany, he winces and Dany cries for a healer. She is told that Drago sent the healer away to tend the more grievously wounded. Mira Mazdura, I always say her name wrong, Mira Mazdur, a Lazarene woman Dany rescued, speaks up, saying she can help. Ago is about to cut her throat when Dany demands that the woman who wears the remains of fine clothing be allowed to speak. Miri Mazdur explains that she is a healer and a god's wife. Drago's blood riders mistrust her, naming her a healer of sheep and a mage. Danny asked Mira Mazdur how she learned to become a healer, and the god's wife stated that she has learned from many, including a maester named Marwyn. Talk of a maester immediately interests Sir Jorah, and he asks for details. Sir Jorah then tells Danny that maesters know much of healing. Mira Mazdur explains that the great shepherd sent her to earth to heal all his lambs. Drago finally speaks up and permits the god's wife to heal him. Mira Mazdur suggests that the healing magic will be stronger inside her temple. Drago rises to walk in, falters, but he refuses Hago's offer to help. Seeing that her husband is weak, Danny moves up to help him, telling that since she is not a man, she can help him. Miriam Mazdur brings Drago into the remains of the temple and says it in best if the rest leave, but Danny and the Blood Riders refuse. Danny assures everyone that Miriam Mazdur will do no harm, feeling she can trust a woman she saved from graping. The god's wife says if they insist on remaining, they can help hold them down. She pulls out the arrow, pours boiling wine onto the wound, then sews the skin back in place. Next, she applies a plaster of leaves to the chest wound and instructs Drago not to drink wine or milk of the poppy or to remove the poultice for 10 days. When told he will have a great scar, Drago declares, I sing of my scars. Danny asks the god's wife about an earlier comment about birthing songs and learns she is also a midwife. Therefore, she asks Miriam Mazdur to attend her when she gives birth. Drago tells her, you do not ask a slave, you tell them. Then Drago commands that the Khalasar must ride and leaves. Katho lingers long enough to remind the god's wife, as a Khal fares, so shall you. All right. So that is that. Miss Martin Muses, let's start with you. What did you think? I hope it wasn't robotic, was it?
No, you were fine.
Okay. Go ahead.
I hated this chapter more than I hate a paper cut and then you pour alcohol on it. I don't know what it was. I just hated every second of it. Maybe because I know where it's going, but I don't like seeing what's happening with the call. I don't like that witch lady. And I'm not saying it was badly written. I'm just saying I just despise it because it's just like it put my gut just is gut wrenched. And I didn't enjoy reading it because I wanted Danny to go and rip out that witch's heart and crush it and then stomp on it and then shoot it to the moon with a rocket.
So that's because
how you really feel.
I know, right? So it was more about the character that was in it, not about the chapter. It's because Okay.
I should have made that clear. Yes, not badly written or anything like that. It's just I hated it, and I hated it in the show, and I just hated it here too for that reason.
Right. And you know what? Time Prophet Grapers are the worst. How about you, Stig?
Yeah, I think Grapers are the worst.
Yeah, I'm with you. Michael Jolin, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, Grapers are terrible. But what else? Anything that stuck out to you in this chapter?
It shows off how badass Drogo is, I guess. Daenerys has gotten way more self-esteem now that her brother is gone. We're introduced to Miri Mazdur, which is I think it's the first time we see something that is magical in the book. As far as I know.
From a person in the book, yes.
Yeah, there's the supernatural stuff happening, but this is the first time.
Well,
we
you're right.
Yeah, I think so. Anyway.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's absolutely right. Yeah, because we haven't been to that city yet with the guys in the tower. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's a good pull. And do you think that's what it was, Stig? It was a magical healing that she did?
No, I think it's it's healing, but something else, which we'll find out in the next Danny chapter. But this is the first character we see that performs magic. But that's in the next chapter.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. All right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
First magic user, I guess.
Yeah. I see. I don't know about you guys. I got a lot out of reading this one over. I got a lot out of this chapter that I never picked up before.
Also, the Lazarenes are complete pansies. Because they just accept right away that they're slaves.
Right. Well, it's almost like it's not that they accept it; it's that they don't take, like the Dothraki accept it too, but they take it as like they won't show that it bothers them at all. Where the Lazarene are just like whimpering and crying that they're going to be slaves.
Yeah, it's the villagers are whimpering, I guess. Well, anyway, it's I'm gonna side a bit with Teresa though. The chapter isn't poorly written or anything, but if I had to pick a favorite chapter of this book, this one would be near the bottom.
Yeah, I think I would have agreed with you guys until I just reread it with a different perspective. So I was thinking about the end of the show and what, I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it, but what they do to Dany's character. So I was trying to think about that as I read her chapters. In this chapter, the first time I read it, I took it as Dany, you know, she feels sorry for these people. She wants to protect the girls that were raped. You know, like there's all this thing she's trying to do, but there's also this sense of once she does, and even goes on to the next chapter, she feels like they should be grateful that she's saving them. And it may not show as much in this chapter, but I know in her next one it does. Like she expects people that she rescues or frees from slavery, not at this point to like worship her or anything, but like to, I don't know, to be grateful that the cow came in, destroyed their city, raped their women, killed their men, but she's going to free the rest of them after they were, brutally taken advantage of. Did you ever notice that when you guys like read this chapter?
I guess, yeah, but it's more prominent in the next chapters, I'd say. But
yes,
there's a hint.
I think I read it. Maybe I kind of read into it because I know what's coming. That could be it.
No, I think you're right. That behavior, though, in Daenerys will amplify quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
no.
Maybe this chapter is kind of like ground zero for a lot of things.
Right. Oh, yeah, definitely. There's some other things that I picked up. Let's talk about not spoiling, but something that, comes up when Jorah is talking to Dany and Dany's all fiery and I'm going to save all these girls. And he says, you remind me, now that's something to the effect of that you are your brother's sister or something. You do have the dragon like your brother did or something to that effect. And she's like, Viserys? And he's like, no. Oh my God, I just blanked out his name. Rhaegar, thank you. And we think about what the book tells us the history of Rhaegar is, that he is this kidnapped a girl, took her down to Dorne, raped her all the time. You know what I mean? But yet when Jorah thinks about him, he thinks about he would have stopped the raping. I thought that was, I didn't pick that up the last time I read it.
Yeah, this is true. It's like King Robert's story. It doesn't hold up at all.
Right. I mean, we look back, what? Ned never thinks poorly of him. Who else? You know what I mean? Everyone
thinks highly of him except King Robert.
What do you think, Teresa?
King Robert is fake news.
He is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, of course, because I feel like there's a lot of hints there because, yeah, of course, Robert hates his guts. It makes complete sense. and it would make sense for Ned to hate his guts too, because that was his sister. And I think that's a big hint that Ned does not seem to have that kind of hatred for him.
Right. Never in his dreams or in when he's, awake. Ned never thinks of him in a bad light.
Mm-hmm.
Tells us something, right?
Yeah. It's like everyone knew but Robert.
Well, it almost goes to the story that history is written by the conquerors. So Robert won. It was his narrative to choose what the history was.
It's more like Robert came up with the story because he can't accept the truth. Lyanna Stark just didn't want him.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You can't handle the truth.
You need that wall. Yeah, we do actually. No, but you have, Ned never tries to change that truth. Benjen goes to the wall. He may know, he was there when Rhaegar came and took Lyanna, or Lyanna left and was taken by Rhaegar. So I think this is another hint where somebody who's not part of that like main story arc, he's just Jorah Mormont. He's on the outside of that, but he even thinks of Rhaegar in a quality light. So, even though he heard these stories, he never believed it. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Jorah also tries to talk Dany into selling the slaves, and that goes back to his history. He's like, maybe we can go to Marine.
Also, it's like he told Daenerys, I used to sell slaves and it was bad, and I don't do that anymore. And then he goes,
right.
How about we sell these slaves?
Right, like a chapter or two later. It's not even that far off. You're absolutely right. I thought that was pretty funny. Like the first thing he thought of is like, let's sell them. We can fetch more for the women. Like it was crazy. And the kids, he said the women and the young boys, like, gross. There was something else. There was a couple other things that I found really cool. I mean, Mary Mazdu, what do you guys think about that? Let me throw that out there.
Interesting character. That's interesting character. I don't think I can say anything until we read the next chapter, because that's where the character gets fleshed out quite a bit.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, what we can say is she's been to a place called the Shy. And now I can't remember if this is the first time that we heard of a Shy. I
think Mormont mentions it.
Okay.
When he's talking about, basically doing exposition for Daenerys.
Okay. So
this
for
and that is from beyond the Shy.
Right.
Shit like that.
So for people that don't know, a Shy is like, it's a city. Is it north or south? I don't know, but it's in Essos, far away. And it's just pretty much described as like one of the darkest places on Planetos. Like it's dark, oily stone everything's made out of this dark, oily stone. It never really has a sunlight to it. There's like a kind of like a smoggish feel to it. And there's like necromancers and pyromancers and like just,
isn't it interesting that, slight spoiler, that when necromancy is used in this story, it involves black oil. Because it does.
Yeah, you're right. Huh. Has to do. Okay. That is a good pickup. But so what's a maester? Okay. So we're not going to spoil it, but we could think about this like someone who's just reading it. What the heck is a maester doing in a place like that?
Yeah, interesting, isn't it?
Right, because Jorah comes at her a little bit like, oh, you're saying a maester. Well, let me, kind of interrogate her a little bit, but she knew what type of chains he had and stuff like that. And when we think of maesters, like Maester Luwin, he doesn't, magic is gone. The children of the forest are gone. There is no magic. They're all about like, no magic, but being more learned people. So I found that kind of interesting the first time I read it.
Huh. See, and these are the aspects that I'm not too certain of, only because, I haven't read it. It's apparent to me, I
Right. So where are you in the books?
I'm right here. I'm following
so
along
awesome.
with you now. Yeah.
That's so awesome. There's another thing she says that I've never caught before reading it again. She talks about, where did she say? I was on the Summer Isles where I don't know what she calls the person, but showed how the inside of people work, opened up a person and showed them how the insides work. And that made me think of one other person that may be connected down the line, Stig.
You're right. And that
Right?
other person down the line has been taught by another person.
Exactly. And I never caught that before. I thought that was really cool. So I thought we'd bring that up. So Dany pulls Mary Mazdur out. She just watched her people being slaughtered, people being raped, put into slavery, town destroyed. And Dany grabs her and says, can you heal the guy who did, 90% of this? And she expects this woman to be grateful that she's saving her. I don't know if that's a sign of anything that's come, we hear about it, not maybe in the show, but
actually,
go ahead, bud.
In this situation, it's okay to expect some gratitude.
Oh, okay.
I'm interested. What do you mean, Stig? I'm sorry.
If you save someone from being raped, it's okay if they say thank you.
I see what you're saying.
I can see why she thinks it, right, Teresa?
Yeah. It's if you say if you save someone from anything, right? It's not that far fetched to expect at least the thank you for saving them.
Yeah,
so,
and maybe that Dany doesn't understand that that's not as important perhaps to them, that you're like, oh, whoop-de-doo, thank you for saving me from having been raped, but it's worse for them perhaps to have lost what they've lost.
Right, and also it's almost like saying there's nuances to it. It's not, Dany sees it as black and white. You think of I come to Stig's house with my brother. My brother beats the living crap out of Stig, but I'm nice enough to pull the dagger out of his arm and bandage that up. Are you going to be grateful that I brought my brother there and kicked your ass? Did that to you? Because to these people, she came with them. She's with them. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading into it because I'm trying to find a thread through the books, but it is something I caught.
Yeah. But I also see Stig's point of view. It's like, rape sucks. Maybe.
Oh yeah. Oh, totally. I actually I never tried to read it any other way than just trying to look at it.
Oh yes, no, I understand. I'm just looking at it from 2 points of view. Yeah. Of course, we all know that. We all agree.
Yeah, I could see why though. In the next chapter, Mary Mazdur says what she says. Tina says maybe selling the boys at a premium is because they could be taught to fight, lose their pieces, and have their will broken easier than older men. Yes, that could be, or they could be sold to the traders of fleece, where they teach them the arts of bedworking for older men, maybe. It's kind of gross to think about what they could be used for.
Yeah.
Sounds like something they'd show on Netflix.
Oh,
yes.
Yes. Oh, God.
Damn Skippy. Yes, you're absolutely right, my man. You're absolutely right. Magic link on chain. That would be the Valyrian steel link, would be on the chain around. So Maesters, they gave up magic. So yeah, they did. But they could still learn it as a high, what is it again? A high art or a high something?
Yeah, it's like they learn the theory of it, but they don't. It's like when people skip Latin and stuff today.
Yep.
Because they don't think it's worth it, right?
Yeah.
But in this story, though, magic is coming back, right? So
Yeah.
there hasn't been that much magic before for a long time.
Yeah, like at least over a century.
Yeah.
You know, since the Last Dragons, which was probably about 150 years before the story, somewhere in that realm. So, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The one thing they do, you know, Maester Lewin's the one who explains it to us, that they try to light a glass candle, but none of them are lit. And a glass candle is a piece of obsidian that in the days of magic, people would use to communicate over long distances or be able to put thoughts into people's minds and dreams. So, but he says they haven't been lit in over a century. Hail Mason, what's up, brother? Another great channel. And Fat Steven Seagal beats up Netflix came at a perfect time. Yeah, I'm buffering, bro. You should have heard the beginning of this. Mm-hmm. So, Mary Mazdul heals the wound, brings him into the temple. I wonder why she kept trying to get everybody out of there when she would need them to hold them down anyways. But she heals them, right? And then gives them these instructions. What did you think about that? Don't y'all all jump in at it at once.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure I understood.
Okay, so she sews them up. She puts this patch on them, and she says, this is what you have to do. You can't take it off for 10 days. You can't drink. You can't take milk of the poppy. You know, if you do that, you'll be fine.
I'd be suspicious as F.
Well, it sounds like, I don't know. It sounds like medieval doctor, really. I mean, I'm assuming she says you can't drink alcohol.
Right.
And
or take a painkiller. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, just I don't see any. Well, in hindsight, of course, it's shady because we know the next chapter. But there and then, if that's all you have to go by, it sounds like someone's, a regular healer, right? Telling you, hey, don't do drugs and alcohol until it's healed.
So, even when I read it the first time, how Khal Drogo, like, they all think she's a witch. They all think, she's a joke. And then she gives these instructions that if you've been reading the story, Khal, and I thought this when I first read it, he's not going to stick to that. Like he thinks he's a man's man. The dude has never cut his braid. Like, for this lamb woman to tell him he has to do this and leave this thing on for 10 days. I just couldn't imagine. Like, she couldn't have, I don't know. I thought it was peculiar when I first read it, and we'll find out in the next chapter why. And I'll explain more why.
Yeah. It's a difficult chapter to discuss because it sets up the next chapter where stuff actually happens.
Right. And I know we try hard not to spoil other books, but we really do, if you guys have been following us, try hard to not even spoil the next chapter. So,
and this is one of those cases where you kind of can't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Tina says, weren't there certain maesters that studied the older arts and needed to go east to learn them, even though they are not part of the standard curriculum? No, they didn't have to go east to learn them. They had, if they want, okay, so to earn your Valyrian steel chain, you had to study it at the Citadel, attempt to do the magic that, is part of that course. But if you wanted, I guess, to further it, you would go to Essos and find different types of witches and, witch doctors and stuff like that. What do you guys, is that correct there, Stig?
Excuse me? You were...
So, I was buffering?
Yeah, on my end, anyway.
Teresa, did you hear me?
Yeah, no. I heard you fine. I just don't feel like I know the knowledge enough, maybe my knowledge is too casual to know about some of that stuff.
I missed what it was, though.
Okay, let me try. Yeah, real quick. The maesters earning Valyrian chain. Yeah. They didn't have to go east to be granted that chain. They just had to pass pretty much the course at the Citadel, correct?
Yeah, but
Right.
some people went east on their own accord for reasons
Yes.
I don't think we even know completely, even before book 6.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
We know something they learned there, but not all of it, and we don't know why. But there's a motive behind the individuals who went there, I guess, and
really,
maybe not a good one.
Right, and really, we don't learn a lot about the Valyrian steel chain until like the last chapter, maybe 2 chapters of A Dance with Dragons.
No,
you know,
so it's quite a bit down the line, which makes it interesting that George actually started preparing this already in book 1.
Right.
And this is why the books take a hell of a long time to write, because there's details in almost every sentence.
Insane, right?
Yeah, it is insane.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what he means by playback errors. Fat Steven Seagal, I don't know what you mean, but I love you, buddy. I was told if you're having that weird glitch, I actually might know what you're talking about. So the other day, and I'm still having the problem on my phone when I watch a live stream, it keeps glitching.
Oh yeah, that happens to me too.
Yeah, when I cleared the cookies on my computer, it cleared it up for now, but my phone, I still can't. It still does it. It's so aggravating. All right, let's see if there's any other questions real quick before we move. Okay, so anything else on this chapter? I think this is personally, I think it's a really interesting chapter, but I go with you, Teresa, where I say it's one of those chapters where I dread while I'm reading it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Even more so than with Ned.
Yeah, you're right. And there is one thing I wanted to point out. Book Drago got the injuries from fighting the Khal and his son. Show Drago, they have him killing one of his own blood riders. So I don't know why they ended up doing that for, the dramatic thing of Dany saving those girls, but that's just something I definitely wrote down to point out.
I think they did it on the show so they didn't have to show a whole battle. And
they didn't have a lot of money, right?
Yeah, and by doing it the way they did, they actually got to showcase Drogo's badassness anyway.
Yeah.
Because you actually get to see him fight for a change.
Yes.
And he doesn't even use a weapon, doesn't he? Like in that one, he's like,
no.
He allows the sword to like push into it. Oh, that was badass. You're right. I like that one. All right, we're going to move on to the next chapter. I didn't see Zagharat 315 was in here, but I'm saying hail to you, buddy. Who has the next one? That is you, correct, Stig?
Yeah.
All right, and that's Tyrion 8.
Bloody hell, it's a long synopsis, too.
It's worth it, though. This is a great chapter.
Okay, I'll start reading then.
All right, thank you, sir.
A long table draped with a golden cloth has been set up on a hill overlooking the King's Road for Lord Tywin Lannister and his chief knights and lords bannermen to take their evening meal. Tyrion, arriving late, is embarrassed as he waddles up to the table. Lord Tywin mocks that he will charge Tyrion with burying the dead if he arrives as late to the battle as he does to the table. Tyrion replies sourly that surely a peasant or two could be found for him to kill. The news from Sir Adam Marbrand is that Robb Stark has moved south of the Twins with House Frey's levies in tow and is now no more than a day away. Tyrion mockingly protests that he is about to eat, and Tywin asks if the thought of coming to grips with Robb unmans him. Tyrion jests that he would prefer to come to grips with a roast pig, which is far more tender and better smelling than Robb. The army's quartermaster, Lord Leo Lefford, who has had to supply Tyrion's 300 clansmen, uses this opportunity to quip that he hopes the clansmen are braver than Tyrion, or else they have wasted good steel. Tyrion assures him that the arms and armor will be would be put to good use. Sir Kevin, who Tyrion knows is giving voice to Lord Tywin's thoughts, takes the opportunity to inform Tyrion that he and his clansmen will fight in the vanguard, since they seem so ferocious. Tyrion stresses the ferocity of his clansmen by recounting their recent lethal fight over a sausage. Lord Tywin uses this as evidence of a poor commander who cannot maintain discipline. Tyrion knows that his brother could always make men follow him eagerly, but Tyrion lacks such charisma and must use gold and his family's name to get men to follow him. Tywin tells Kevin that because the clansmen have no discipline, maybe they should not be in the vanguard. When Lord Tywin suggests that he should guard the baggage instead, Tyrion angrily agrees to command the vanguard, only to learn that he will not command, but be under Sir Gregor Clegane. Disgusted, Tyrion excuses himself after only eating one bite of the delicious pork. Tyrion gets lost in the camp, but finds his way by following the sounds of Shagga's laughter in the dark. Khan calls for him to share their meat, and Tyrion agrees to join them when it's cooked, doubting that will be before the battle. When he reaches his tent, he finds Bronn sharing wine with his new servants, a groom, a body servant, a squire named Podrick Payne, a slim young dark-haired whore named Shae. Tyrion told Bronn to find him a young one with a pretty face, and to be sure to tell her who and what he is, as to avoid the displeasing look of revulsion that sometimes greets him. He likes the girl Bronn has found. Tyrion invites Shae to his tent. When asked if she's a maiden, Shae tells him that finding out will cost him double, and Tyrion decides they will get along fine. Tyrion explains that her duties besides sleeping with him include serving him and monogamy. When they have sex, Shae expresses pleasure, which pleases Tyrion, who decides he does not care if it's feigned. Tyrion also finds it good to be with a woman after nearly a year of enforced abstinence. Afterwards, he sneaks out of the tent without waking Shae. Outside, he asks Bronn where he found her and is told that she was stolen from a knight because all the pretty ones were taken. Tyrion comments that he did not ask Bronn to make him an enemy, but agrees to keep Shae. When Tyrion asks for the name of the knight so he can avoid him in battle, Bronn insists that Tyrion will have him for protection. Tyrion then tells Bronn that if they both survive the battle, he can name his reward. Bronn asks who would want to kill Tyrion, and Tyrion explains who has put them in the vanguard. Bronn only laughs and jests that a small man with a big shield will give the enemy archers fits. Tyrion returns to the tent to find Shae. When Tyrion asks whom Bronn has taken her from, she tells him that the knight was a minor figure and a small man. Tyrion mockingly asks if she takes him for a giant, but Shae insists he does, calling him my giant Lannister. Tyrion wakes before dawn to battle horns and Shae's cries. Outside, Bronn informs him that the Stark host has come down the King's Road at night, and they are forming up for battle a mile north. Tyrion's well-fitting suit of armor is at Casterly Rock, so Podrick Payne and Shae help him into the ill-fitting oddments that have replaced it. Tyrion asks Shay to weep for him if he dies, but she asks, how will he know? He is helped onto his heavy armored horse and given his battle axe. Shay tells him he looks fearsome, but Tyrion disagrees. He instructs his squire Podrick to take her safely home if they lose. As the sun rises and he rides north, the clansmen fall in behind him. On the battlefield, Lord Tywin commands the reserve in his magnificent armor that puts Jaime's to shame. Lord Kevin commands the center and Sir Adam Marbrand the right, where Lord Tywin has massed his armored knights. The Northmen will be tired after their long sleepless march. Tyrion wonders what Robb Stark was thinking. Shit, this is just halfway through it. Okay, I'll continue.
I know. It's so good, though. You're okay. You're okay. The next chapter's fast.
It's like, I'm not reading the next chapter. Fuck.
No, I know. I love that you're reading this one, though.
Okay, I'll continue. Tyrion spies the massive Sir Gregor Clegane, with the vanguard massing on the left. Bronn, looking at Sir Gregor, states that it is best to follow a big man into battle since he attracts all the archers, which Tyrion finds amusing. They hear Sir Gregor tell his men that if anyone runs, he will cut them down himself. Tyrion receives his orders to hold the left of the left next to the river. When Tyrion's clansmen reach the Green Fork, Tyrion commands them to keep themselves between the enemy and the river. The clansmen raise their battle cry of half-man. Although the vanguard is all mounted, it is comprised of misfits and sweepings, including half-trained boys. Tyrion notes that the force is unfit to hold the left and wonders what his father was thinking. When the enemy appears, their numbers seem great, but Tyrion knows that his father has more. He also notes that the Freys are among the enemy. The Northerners charge and are answered first by the Lannister bowmen. Sir Gregor orders the charge, and the clansmen quickly leave Tyrion in the dust. The charge nearly breaks against the Karstark spearmen opposing them, but Sir Gregor's horse crashes through the shield wall as it dies. The monstrous knight rises from the fallen mount and begins slaying men all around, before the gap in the enemy line can close. Shagga rides through right behind Sir Gregor, followed by the other clansmen. The Northman line begins to crumble under the assault. Then Tyrion and Bronn are in the fight, and Tyrion successfully defeats a number of enemies, including a close fight with a tall Northerner whom Tyrion only overcomes because his horse bites the man's cheek, giving Tyrion the opening to kill him. Then a knight with a morning star comes at Tyrion, wounding and unhorsing him. The knight calls for Tyrion to yield, but Tyrion uses the spike on his helmet to eviscerate the horse, which falls on the knight, disabling and trapping him. The knight yields to Tyrion. Tyrion can now see that the battle has moved past him. The Northerners are being pushed against the hills and pelted by arrows. Finally, Bronn rides up, and Tyrion sees his father ride by with the reserves to break the Northerners. Tyrion finds the remnants of his clansmen, of whom perhaps half, including Con and Ulf, son of Umar, are dead. Tyrion searches for his father and finds him sipping wine as his armor is removed. Lord Tywin tells him that his clansmen fought well. Tyrion asks if that surprised him and if they were supposed to be butchered. Lord Tywin admits that he expected the left to collapse, hoping that Robb Stark would press into the breach where they might capture him. Tyrion demands to know why he was not informed. His father declares that a feigned rout is always less convincing and that he is not in the habit of trusting men who consort with savages and sellswords. Lord Tywin continues that the Stark boy proved more cautious than expected, but it is a victory. Then Tywin notes that Tyrion is wounded. Tyrion asks that he call for his maesters. At that moment, Sir Adam Marbrand rides up with the news that Lord Servin, Sir Willis Manderley, Harrison Karstark, and 4 Freys were captured and Lord Hallis Hornwood killed. The bad news follows. Lord Roose Bolton has escaped and Robb Stark has crossed with most of his horse. This is a typo.
I think it's supposed to be, force.
Yeah, it should be force. Most of his force at the Twins and is riding hard for River Run. Tyrion remembers his father's words that the Stark boy would be more brave than wise and thinks that he would laugh if it didn't hurt so much. There, finally the end.
Wow.
Yay.
We'll give you a minute to catch yourself. Let me read this, and then I'm going to ask Teresa what she thought. So I don't want to butcher your first name, buddy. This is like the second time I've done it. How would you pronounce that, Teresa? His name's Aditya Singh?
Aditya.
Aditya?
I think
Aditya
so.
Singh. Love this stream. Keep it up, guys. I appreciate it, man. You just started coming around a little bit ago, and it's just like active, and I love it. So thank you for being here, buddy. $2 or €2, £2. I have to learn that stuff. And before the Time Prophet was telling me it must be an American thing that everybody's having errors. Well, guess what he just got? An error. He jinxed himself. Okay. And Lewis Cock jumped in. And Lewis, how you doing, my friend? He says, hey, how's it hanging? Lewis, you are a good man. Thank you for being here, buddy. So, Teresa, it's a huge chapter.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was your first time reading it. Much different than the show. So,
yeah. I think that they had some budget cuts, so they had to cut out a lot of that battle. Well, of course, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, it's Shay. Oh my gosh.
Right.
To me, I don't know. Maybe after reading it, I think that in the show she was miscast. Maybe not miscast, but the way she was described here in the book did not remind me at all of in the show. You know,
physically, or how she acted.
Just the whole character.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe it was just me, and I just need to watch some more of it. But and that's kind of a good thing because Shay always to me from the show was more appealing because of Tyrion's reaction to her. But I thought that she wasn't a very good actress and she was distracting to me.
She used to be a porn actress, and it shows.
Are you serious?
Yeah, she used to be a porn actress.
And maybe Benioff admired her work.
Yeah, probably found her on Pornhub.
Wow. I saw and I can't confirm or deny that. The Sporky News podcast cannot confirm or deny that. But I did see she was in a documentary with she went to George R.R. Martin's town and got to go to that. He has a house, and across the street down a little bit is where he bought another house, and that's his office. So she got to like play with his Robbie the robot and all his little figures, and she just, I mean, the accent is pretty much the same. Like she just played herself, but like a Hiya, So, oh dang.
Of course.
But I do understand what you're saying, Teresa, because in the book, she's more actually like aloof towards him. Like the one in the show gets very possessive.
Yeah, the actress on the show that plays Ross is a far better actress.
Mm-hmm.
And she should have played Shay.
She was the one that was in Wintertown and then went to King's Landing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was like the she wasn't from the book at all. I now that you mentioned it, Stig, you're absolutely right. She would have been a much better.
Hell yeah.
Shay.
Yeah, definitely. And I like that actress a lot too. So we're at the very beginning. You know, we have Tyrion there, and he comes into the dinner. What do you guys think about that part?
The part with his dad, or
Yeah. Well, even like him just walking into the dinner, you know, like I think you have said it before, Teresa, and I know we've talked about it at least, that when Tywin is around, Tyrion is so self-conscious of being a dwarf. And he talks about waddling in late for the dinner. You know, it's very obvious that he's feeling that his father's eyes on him.
Yes, yeah. And you're right. Everything about him just turns insecure, like he's a little boy, like he's almost trying to please, maybe, or just trying not to get hurt.
Oh, perfect way of putting it. Not to offend him, so he'll be hurt. I like how you said that. That's good.
Yeah.
It's like his self-esteem drops many points whenever he's around his dad.
Yes.
Well, his whole life, you know, his father has hated him. So this is, I mean, in the books, what, he's like early 20s, he, you know, something like that. His whole life has been this abuse from someone who's supposed to be that father figure. So he's renting space in his head, definitely.
Yeah, and the hatred Tywin has for Tyrion is way more evident in the books than on the show.
Yeah, kind of go into that.
Yeah, because he sits there and insults him, and his uncle basically backs him up on it, right? Tyrion tries to joke it away, but they actually keep going at it, and they put him in the vanguard, which is pretty much where most people die.
Yeah, death sentence. He's setting his son up to be killed.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a self-esteem killer.
Yeah, oh, good one. I mean, you put him in the vanguard. If he dies, Tywin, you know, I put my son in the vanguard to lead. He died, so he's not going to look bad. He's always thinking.
Yeah,
you know,
actually, if you think about it, if Tyrion dies in battle, he'll die as a man, right?
Yes. Yeah, dude, very good. So he can actually, even though he won't be proud of his son, he won't be ashamed of his son's death.
Yeah, because you know, he can just tell everyone, yeah, my son fought bravely for the house and died in battle.
Yeah.
Nobody can insult his family for that.
No.
Right.
Good point. Dang.
But they can certainly insult his family by mentioning that Tyrion runs around renting hookers all the time and drinking.
Right, exactly. And like fell to his death drunk, you know, something stupid like that. No, that's valid, man. I like that. So he's again, Tywin plays 3D chess, you know, he's thinking of stuff 4 steps ahead. And for all the shame that Tyrion has given him, this is his chance to do 2 things: kill him, and with his death, bring some honor to the family name, because that's all Tywin worries about. Yeah. It's crazy. So we find out that, you know, his father's pissed at him, doesn't even like let him command his own group, talks about how, you know, a good commander would be able to control his men. But these are Mountain Clan. They're not an organized army. They're even more, they're like wildlings. And his father expects, you know, and he thinks that if Jaime was here, he'd be able to do it. So again, Tyrion comparing himself to his brother, who, you know, he shouldn't be at all. No. Do you think there's any importance, Stig, to who the knight was that they got Shay from?
Yeah, because both of them seem to avoid the question.
Yes.
Exactly.
So I think Braun has an agenda, and
I do too.
Shay is part of that agenda, and he conveniently placed her with Tyrion.
Right. Exactly.
It's like Shay might be one of an agent of Braun, in a sense.
Right. And then who is Braun an agent of? That's what you got to think about.
Yeah, because we know nothing about him.
Right.
Interesting. Now, is it a spoiler to tell us if something comes of that?
Nope, not really,
Oh.
because we don't know yet. But it's. I think there's gonna be a lot of things happening in book 6 about that.
Okay.
Yeah. Because why we never find out why Braun was at the end by the crossroads. Why he decided to help Catelyn take Tyrion up there, probably for gold. That's what you think, but it's just, and I agree with you, Stig. The vagueness of where they got him, it was just a night. Like there was something there. I thought this when I read it. It has to be someone Tyrion knows well. I just didn't know who.
I think it might be linked to a maester.
Okay, so that's where I now believe it is. Yeah, I agree with you. We'll talk about that one backstage. So there's another part that I found kind of interesting, how they describe Tywin's armor, how it's like even more glamorous than anything Jaime has worn. Kind of like making sure that people could see him on the battlefield, like not a target, but like as a landmark, like, because he's far away from the battle. He doesn't get involved in it till it's over. It's just he's dressed, in like class A's, like the best fatigues, I guess, in a way, the best armor, never expecting to use it, but to be looking like a grand champion when they win. I thought that was kind of.
Tywin is very much in favor of his house being seen in a good light.
Right. And I don't think it's a spoiler to say why, right?
Yeah, and it's his legacy as well. He's very concerned about that. So
right, because of what his father did.
Yeah, so now everyone will have a story about how the Tywin Lannister and his glorious army smashed Robb Stark.
Right. It's interesting. So the only other couple things that I was thinking about was how, Tywin underestimated Robb Stark. He actually was giving him a little bit of credit before he found out he wasn't even there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I like how Tyrion thinks about that he felt like he was a young boy that was going to screw up, and that his father underestimated an opponent, which he rarely ever does.
Yeah, and it's also interesting that Tyrion goes to eat with the Mountain Clan because he seems to feel more at home with the Mountain Clan than with his family.
Why do you think that? I have my reason, but why do you think that?
His family hates his guts.
Yeah, I think it's just the atmosphere around the Lannister dinner table, basically.
I also think it's the Mountain Clan show him respect.
Yeah, that's good points.
Yeah, like they truly will follow him into battle. Like he's the half man. Like he might have gotten them there promising stuff, but they will follow him. And again, they show Tyrion. I kind of hated this when I first saw that episode, and I'm going to spoil it because it's season 1. If you haven't seen it, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But in the episode, the Vanguard just starts to run and Tyrion gets hit on the back of the head, knocked out. War is over. It's over. He's in a tent. In this, you see Tyrion fighting for his life. At one part, a guy screams, "I yield," and then Tyrion yells it back at him, thinking he was yielding to him. It's just chaos. So in the chapter before, we saw the brutality of war. In this chapter, we're seeing Tyrion in a war, the chaos of war while you're in it. You know, in the next chapter, we see something else. All three of these chapters lined up perfectly for us to review because they all have to do with war.
Mhm.
Also, it shows that Tyrion is not incompetent in battle. He's a midget, but he gets a couple of kills,
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
and that is actually a kick-ass thing.
Yeah, and he's willing to, like, he's resourceful too. I mean, he takes his helm and kills the horse, you know, where he was about to get killed by the rider. You know, like he's a fighter, man. For a half man, he's a brawler.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and
Anything else that you
self-preservation
bring?
is also a strong motivator.
Yes. I guess you don't know until it happens to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then at the end, you learn that Tywin was perfectly happy with sacrificing the flank where Tyrion was.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that right there tells you, like, he was shocked it held.
Yeah,
You know,
because he said you can't feign someone being routed, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So he made sure that side would get routed for real, and that's
Right.
where Tyrion is, and that's he expected him to die or wanted him to die, or he wouldn't mind it if Tyrion died. It's like,
That's what
yeah, just go there where it's the most dangerous, please.
Oh, I think he wanted him to die.
Yeah.
I think he's been trying to kill him since he was born, pretty much, from what I can tell.
Yeah, I mean, he holds it against him. The only person Tywin Lannister ever loved was his wife, and she died giving birth to a half man. So definitely he wanted him to die and bring some honor with his death to their family. And I think he's literally shocked that he lived.
Mm-hmm.
I actually found out something about his wife that well, I can't talk about it here because it's Winds of Winter-ish.
Oh,
okay. Let's not forget backstage. There was something else. Sir Adam Marbraid rides up with news that Lord Serwyn, Sir Wylus Manderley, Heron Karstark, and 4 Freys were captured. Lord Hollis Hornwood killed. That comes in big time in the later books. The bad news follows Lord Roose Bolton escaped, of course. And Robb has crossed with, and they tell that part. But we hear about some of these captives and somebody killed. And those names, when I read it the first time, meant nothing to me.
mm-hmm.
But 2 of them are big parts of the rest of the story, which is crazy. These 2 people kind of form why certain houses do what they do. So that's something, like, when I reread this book, there are things that George writes, and I'll go with what Stig says every time. That's why it takes so long for him to write these books. He just drops like a little something at the end of the chapter that has great consequence later on in the book.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Adam Price saying Tyrion was doing backflips and cartwheels in the first book. He was. He's been all over. I mean, it's amazing he's still alive.
He's
right.
he's like
So-
John Wick. You can't kill him.
Yeah, exactly. A half a wick.
Oh no!
You guys have any last words about this chapter? All right. Well then, Teresa, you ready to? And we'll run through this next one. We'll try to end this in about 15 minutes. So you read it. I don't think this is like a deep one, but there are some important stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I love listening to you guys read. So thank you very much.
Okay, story time. Here we go. The synopsis, chapter Oh, oops.
63.
I know I have on 62. I thought I had it queued up, and I was reading. I guess I was reading along with himself. Oh my dear. Let's see.
I was muted talking. I'm sorry. I was muted talking to you. I was like, there's no big deal. We'll say hi to DoLiFiEd, but I was leaving silence. So sorry about that.
Oh, and I was yapping away. Okay, here we are. Story time with Catelyn. Now I've got the right one up. Catelyn is protected by 30 men under the command of Hallis Mullen, Winterfell's captain of the guard, as Robb's host waits to descend upon Sir Jaime Lannister in the Whispering Wood. Robb had wanted to leave her 50 guards, and Catelyn had only wanted 10, so neither of them left happy. Robb's army rode hard from the twins to catch Jaime by surprise. Along the way, they were joined by the Mallisters and some of the forces scattered after Edmure's defeat. But Sir Jaime Lannister still outnumbers them 3-1. However, in order to besiege River Run, the Lannisters were forced to separate their 12,000 foot and 2,000 or 3,000 horse into 3 camps, separated by rivers, which leaves them vulnerable. In addition, Catelyn's uncle, Sir Brendan, led a screening force of 300 picked men to kill the few outsiders that Jaime bothered to post, allowing their advance to remain secret. Before they face the siege, however, Robb and his men have concocted an elaborate trap. Unable to endure the boredom of the siege, Jaime has personally ridden out 3 times to chase raiders. To exploit this, Robb sent a few hundred men with Tully banners to lure Jaime and his men into an ambush in the narrow valley of the Whispering Wood. As she waits, Catelyn realizes she is again waiting for a man who has promised to return from war as she has done all her life. First, she waited for her father when she was young. Then it was for Brandon Stark, who never came back. Then she waited for Ned Stark, who left a fortnight after he married her to fight in Robert's rebellion. At least Ned left her pregnant with Robb, whom she must wait for now. Robb shows no fear as the battle approaches, but Catelyn still fears for the life of her son, remembering him as a babe at her breast. As Robb's squire, Oliver Frey, helps with his shield and helm, Catelyn sees a tall young knight appear where her son had stood. Robb leaves her to let his men see him before the battle, as his father had once recommended, with his dire wolf Grey Wind shadowing him. While she waits, Catelyn hears snow shrikes, which remind her of Winterfell. Suddenly, horns blow and arrows fly as the trap closes. Catelyn can initially see the moonlight on the lances, but soon she can only hear the sounds of the battle in the Whispering Wood. Eventually, the sounds fade, and then Robb returns on a different horse with the blood of one of his bodyguards on his arm. They drag Jaime before Catelyn, and the captive declares that he would offer up his sword, but he seems to have mislaid it. Catelyn asks Jaime to return her husband and daughters, but he replies that he seems to have mislaid them as well. Theon Greyjoy calls for Jaime's head, but Robb considers the Kingslayer more valuable alive and, like his father Ned, refuses to condone the murder of prisoners. Robb orders Jaime taken away with a strong guard, in part to protect him from Lord Rickard Karstark, who will want vengeance for his sons Torrhen and Eddard, along with Daeron Hornwood. Catelyn then learns that when Jaime saw he was lost, he charged Robb's party, hoping to cut down Robb. Robb states that he would be dead if not for Lord Karstark's sons and the others. Despite these losses, the battle is a resounding victory for Robb. They have taken close to 100 knights and a dozen lords bannermen captive. Catelyn points out that they have only won one battle, not the war. Although they took the leader, most of the Lannister host is still besieging River Run, and they still have to deal with Lord Tywin Lannister. Robb agrees that Catelyn is right and declares that they still have the siege of River Run to defeat. Dun, dun, dun.
Thank you so much. Where shall we start with this one, Stig? Would you like to start with this one, or? Okay, you're muted. I don't know if you know that.
Well,
okay. Yeah, please.
Before we go into some of the deeper stuff, I noticed once again how when Catelyn was thinking of Robb, she was like the babe that, she nursed and suckled that came out of her. Is that, how much connection she feels with the babies, the children that she herself bore. And and I think it's very strong. It just keeps reminding how very close she feels as a mother, that's part of her character.
Yes.
These her natural born children of her own body. And I know it's going to come into play later, but just the way I think that they're not just showing a little bit of the way Catelyn views her children and her family and her motivations, but also serves for a plot point later. So I think it just really struck me this time around.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I like that. Stig?
I'd say this chapter is a little bit of a growth chapter. For Robb, I guess.
Right.
Also, it has an important event because Jaime, right?
Yes. Huge event. So I do like how the 3 chapters we read were, the aftermath of a war and the destruction and what happens during a war and the chaos and waiting for what's going to happen in a battle. It was almost like he did it backwards in these 3 chapters. Instead of starting like with the waiting and moving up, he actually went from the end to the beginning, which was kind of neat. And by doing it in Catelyn's POV, he also does the kind of, not to like the extent of other fantasy writers, but he does the not romanticizing a little bit of what war is. She's not like romanticizing it, but it sounds cleaner than what we just read about in the 2 previous chapters.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah, and I don't, again, first time I actually picked that up, and I'm wondering if that was a conscious decision by George to do it that way.
Well, it's a contrast, one after the other. So possibly.
Yeah. I also, I understand maybe he had his reasons, but I always wished we had a Robb POV.
I think George has said that too.
Yeah, I know he regrets not having, at least in this book, we'll say, he regrets not having a POV. We'll say that. But a lot happened in this one. You see Robb becoming a leader of men, and being bold enough to try something and realizing using Jaime Lannister's, probably perceived strength, his boldness, as his weakness.
Yeah, like I said, some chapters are what I like to call event chapters, and this is one of them, because something that basically changes the board just happened.
Right. I mean, huge, right?
Yeah, they have a very, very important hostage.
Probably for that side, the most important hostage of it, next to Tywin himself,
or Cersei.
Right.
I'd say.
But I would say Jaime's even higher. In Tywin's mind, and just in Tywin's mind, maybe not politically, but in Tywin's mind.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. There's another thing I thought was kind of cool, and I don't know if they say all the different houses that are involved in this battle. They say a bunch of them, but again, like I keep going back to what you said, the way George writes. So in many previous chapters since Tywin started attacking the Riverlands, you hear about, they took the Malisters, they did this, they did that, they did this to that family. This one had to run. And it's just like an afterthought in these chapters where we hear what Tywin and the Mountain are doing in the Riverlands. And in this chapter, you see all these houses on rot, like they finally got their chance to fight back, and they make a difference. And I thought that was kind of interesting. Like they're involved in this chapter. Like, okay, you did all this stuff to get to River Run. Now these people are fighting you back with Robb Stark at the helm. I thought that's just cool how he did that.
Yeah, it's like all the leftovers converge into an army, basically, and fight back.
Yep. Now, Stig, they didn't bring it up in the summary, but is this the chapter? Because I can't remember right now off the top of my head. Is this the chapter where some of the men are talking about Robb fighting and how him and Grey Wind fought together? Or is that the next chapter?
Could be the next one, or it could even be in the next book.
Yeah, I know it's about the Whispering Woods, though. I remember. I didn't get to finish this one.
It could be something Jaime hears.
Mm-hmm. Oh, maybe. You know what? Maybe you might have a point there.
Yeah. I was going to say, speaking of Jaime, I mean, that was pretty important that they got him hostage.
Oh, yeah, caught him alive, And I think in one of the previous chapters, didn't Catelyn say something like, the only way we'll get your sisters back is, capturing Jaime or somebody like that?
Yeah. And what a smug little bastard. He got caught in just being all snarky.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is good. Yeah. Like, think about it.
Actually, if you think about it, the Lannisters are pieces of shit in general, right?
Yes.
They're filthy rich and all that, but they're not cowards at all.
Mm-hmm.
They're cocky, but they back it up.
Right.
Interesting.
But they're grimy too. Like they are warriors, don't get me wrong, but they'll do like look at Gregor, like Tywin, most other knights, and I'm doing air quotes, would not have knighted Sir Gregor. He saw the asset that this guy could be under his tutelage. He could just let him loose and see what happens. And Tywin is willing to do whatever it takes to win a battle.
Even Cersei has a heck of a lot of balls.
Oh, hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's a cockiness. You're right.
Yeah.
It's a cockiness. There's a saying, when a Lannister shits, it's gold or something like that. I don't know. They believe in their own hype, and that's all from Tywin. I mean, when Tywin was a young man, like a young teenager, their family was a joke. After centuries of being proud family, they were a joke because of his father, and he turned that around in less than a generation.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. What else? Was there anything else? Catelyn being smart again, reminding Robb, but not being disrespectful, reminding him that, this is just one battle. You can't be the cocky ones,
Because they can't afford it.
Right. And that's true. The Lannisters can, they can't. But this was a good chapter. I mean, I did like it for the simple fact of how it worked with the chapters before it. And it was kind of perfect that these 3 chapters lined up the way we were doing our reading. So I have nothing else on this one. Do you guys?
I'd say this is the second best Catelyn chapter.
Mm-hmm.
The best one being the one where the assassin shows up to
Yeah. It would have been better if she died in that one, though. But I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Catelyn was not a twat in this chapter. I'll give her that.
Yeah.
No.
Catelyn is at her best in these chapters where she's giving advice and like the war and the strategy. It seems that's where she really knows her stuff.
It almost
you don't want to punch her in the face.
You know what's also ironic though? She's good at giving advice, but she sure as hell is not good at following them.
No,
Precisely.
Or taking her own advice.
Yep.
Let's not forget, and this will come up later. She's the one that said this type of hostage is what we need, and then, and Rob is very smart right away to make sure that Jamie is guarded, because the Karstarks would want vengeance for the death of the Lord Karstark, heirs. So, you see Rob doing smart things, a little bit of, not as much, because she was doing a lot more of this, but still, Catelyn, she's a really good war advisor. Like, she must have really paid attention to when Ned would be discussing war, or her father, It's interesting. You're right. This is probably, if not her best, one of her best. And when I say one of her best, it's like, I didn't want her dead in this chapter.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and I said I didn't want to punch her in the face,
Exactly. What do you think of her, though? Come on, Teresa. What? Like,
I have mixed feelings about her, because I was so biased by the TV show performance. And so when I started reading this book, I had to switch up my perceptions from that bias, from the way the actors.
What's your bias?
Well, my bias was I never really thought she was a cow in the TV show. And I think it was just because the actress was so daggone charismatic, and they did, Benioff and Weiss are guilty of worshiping their actors. They simp for their actors, and often will allow the actors or their admiration or the charisma of the actors sometimes dictate plot points. And so I liked her. I never saw her as an Egypt, even with the Tyrion stuff, when she captured Tyrion. Now, reading in the book, yeah, I thought she was a bit of a cow. Yes, absolutely. And she sounded and she was dumber than a rock with all the stuff that she did by taking Tyrion captive instead of following her husband's orders. And of course, how horrible she's been to Jon Snow.
Right.
Right. Yeah. But now, moving back to seeing her giving advice to her son and really knowing her crap, I'm kind of liking her again.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying is, what I don't want to punch her in the face is,
right.
Yeah, I don't. She seems to really doing her stuff. I mean, I sound horrid, but I'm going to say, when the woman knows her place, she does really well.
Right. And I still think Stig, you guys are putting it perfectly. She is really amazing. Once, like, Ned was captured and then in the jail. Did we finish that chapter with Ned?
He was in the jail.
He's in the jail, right? I'm an idiot.
He's still with us.
You have a super sticker.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, Culture Casino. He is, dude. I have to say, and he doesn't love any of us floating his boat, but really, Culture Casino has come in to become a fourth wave member and just fits right in. The guy is amazing when it comes to, like, he makes my intros and my outros. He's doing one for this show, but he's this busy man. And I that's not me trying to get you to do it faster. I'm just saying he does it for everybody. He's really good.
He's a tremendous panelist, because he actually tends to know what he's talking about, which is, let's be fair, it's rare.
No, you know what? I could speak for myself. What his talent is he speaks when he knows something, and he speaks very clear, very precise, and he doesn't do what I do a lot, cut people off, which I've been really working on, but I get excited. He's very good at being a partner in it. Hey, watch him and Tom on Tuesdays. They have an hour live stream. It's so good.
Yeah, he kind of made a little bit of his debut. He was on my Chrono Diaries that I did back in March, back when he had just under 100 followers. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Good Times is one of our
What was
regular
it?
panelists.
What was that stream? What was it called?
The Corona Diaries. It was a daily diary I did for 2 months when it all started. And then when I realized it wasn't ever going to end and I was getting a bit burnt out, I retired it. But we have done a few reunions and we might have some more.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Thank you again, Culture Casino. I'm guessing, because I don't see it, I'm guessing it's the unicorn. I appreciate that, buddy. So just to finish off what you were saying, Teresa, Michelle Farley, I didn't like her I didn't like Catelyn in the show because I already read the book, the first book when the first season came out and the rest of the books before the second season. But she did bring something different that I didn't feel like she had, just like Cersei. They to me were worse in the books. They didn't have the soul that those actresses gave them. And Michelle Farley actually got like extra scenes to show that, like the scene where she's knitting that thing and talking about how Jon got sick as a babe and she prayed that he'd be okay because she was so bad to him. Like that scene, like that's not in the book, so.
That was season 2, wasn't it?
Yeah, she and Charles Dance were the best actors in season 3.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, definitely.
But they never got credit because they kept nominating Emilia Clarke for everything.
Right, and she wasn't good until the story got terrible.
Yeah. Well, actually, Emilia Clarke was great when she was speaking Dothraki and Valyria.
I misspoke. I didn't mean like I think she did a great job. I actually really like her. But like, I thought when they started kind of screwing up her character, I think she realized it and she just said, well, no matter what, I'm going to act the hell out of this. And she did a great job.
Actually, she, in the dreaded season 8, she was the best actor.
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah. And I do want to get a little bit of honorable mention, though, is that I think that Peter Dinklage. Oh, wait. Never mind. That was season 4. When season. Yeah, never mind. Because I was going to say, there was that scene in season 4 where before.
Oh, the end. Yeah. No.
Yeah, the end, but not just the end. He was just magnificent.
Yeah.
But wrong season, so.
Well, what I could say about that is that was one of the last seasons Tyrion's writing was good because they were coming to the end of what George had.
Mm-hmm.
And they could have used more, but they decided to cut a character in that whole plot out. But
they actually spent 4 episodes on the whole of book 4, and then and that's when they started complaining about no source material. So like,
exactly.
you just spent 4 episodes on a whole book.
That's big. What? A big book.
Yeah, and then the next 5 episodes, the next 6 episodes were loosely based on book 5, very loosely. So that's two massive books in one patchwork season.
Right, which could have been probably like 4 seasons, 5 seasons combined.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah.
Yeah, I am curious also to go back a little bit to the whole Catelyn thing too about making her charismatic. Of course, herself, that actress was not the one that was chosen originally for the original pilot. It was really originally Jennifer L., who was the very popular actress who played Elizabeth in Pride and Prejudice. So it does make me wonder if they had this vision of Catelyn, that they had these highly charismatic actresses doing it. And the reason, of course, that Jennifer Ellie couldn't do it was because once the pilot happened and, some time passed, she'd already moved on, and so they recast it. But
right. I think the pilot was a disaster, wasn't it?
Yes, it was a total disaster. Correct. Yeah. But she was also another incredibly charismatic actress that they had playing Catelyn. So they wanted us to like her, or maybe that's my humble opinion.
No, I like that. I think you're right. Real quick, I just want to say hello to a couple people. Shellback TJC, who has a great channel. Hail all. The turtle is here. I kind of want to know what the senator here is talking about, Sheev. I hope you all criticize others when they make errors. Other characters seem to get a free pass for making the same mistakes. I would love to see who you mean, and if you're talking about this story or you're being more broad, but I would love an example, because everyone has biases, like favorite characters that they might allow a little,
we've been criticizing Ned.
Yeah, we tear up everybody.
Probably as heavily as Catelyn, for sure.
Yeah.
I actually think doing this with you guys made me more angry with Ned than I ever thought I could be.
Mm-hmm. Well,
just for his, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and I was like to say, I have a bias because of Jason Momoa. Nothing that Call does is wrong. El Draco.
Right? I can understand that coming from you. Okay. Adam Price.
That one, you might change your opinion about that one in book 6.
Dario getting the lifetime free pass from him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we might find something out. Yeah, I tend to,
because Dario might
he
might not be who you think he is.
Ooh.
Right.
Dun, dun, dun.
Let's see. Anybody writing something of questions?
Shellback wants someone to tell him something good. So, okay, pizza.
Chocolate.
Sex.
Boats and hoes.
Chocolate pizza sex.
2 Jason Momoas.
Oh, God. A Jason Momoa sandwich for Teresa.
Yes, please.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Senator says all the character development freezes in season 5. Yeah, some before that too. It's a shame. It really was. Without George, Dumb and Dumber would not have had the first season. Well, definitely. First off, it was him who had to give them the okay. They tricked them pretty much. They admit to that. Like, they didn't know crap. They answered, I guess, the questions he wanted to hear, Anytime, Shellback, you deserve the kind words. You're a great dude. You really are. Seriously, you're one of the best dudes in the fandom and one of the funniest guys in the fandom. So thank you, buddy. I think all the characters in GOT have flaws, even Drago. I mean, he got killed. Oh, I said it out loud. For next week's chapter, make sure you read it. He writes right after that. He goes, "Dope. Was that a spoiler? Sorry." Yeah.
Well, technically, we did say that it's okay to spoil things that were in the book that we're reading.
No, it is. It is. We try not to. That's all. Yeah. So I have nothing else about these. I do like how George, when we always talk about how George sets up the next chapter with some type of thread from the chapter previous, these 3 chapters were a perfect example for that. Anything from you guys?
Good chapters. 2 major events, really, but one doesn't become an event until a couple of chapters later. But good chapters. I wouldn't say any of them are fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not the most memorable chapters, I guess, but very developing chapters.
I would say, for me at least, the Dany seeing that brutality and Tyrion getting prepared for the battle. I actually, when I first read them, I dig them still when I read them. Just the way George gives you that description and that sense of feeling and forebode. I feel like I was there. So yeah, I like these chapters. The Catelyn one is, I definitely agree with you. It's not, to me, I wish it was in Rob's POV. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Teresa?
Yeah. And for me, I also felt like, because we were so moving forward with the King's Landing story and Ned and all of that, I almost felt a little bit frustrated with these 3 chapters, like I almost feel like they could have been maybe in book 2 or something, because I felt like maybe the momentum was made from that.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Because you know what? George puts so many of Ned's chapters, you know, kind of like it was somebody's chapter, then Ned's, somebody, Ned. So I see what you're saying. Now you get these 3 in between what we just found out is going on with Ned. It definitely has a good flow with these chapters, but I wonder if I went back and read a couple chapters before and after, would I feel that way? I like that. Very good observation. We are going to wrap it up, though. I have to get to sleep and be up at 2:30. So, this is the one rough thing about doing streams at night. I'm doing Chris Knight's stream tomorrow night. So if anybody's, wanting to watch one, definitely check out Chris Knight 3000. He's an awesome YouTuber, good guy. I haven't been able to stream with him in months, so this will be fun. But Teresa, let them know where they can find you if you're working on anything, all that good stuff.
Oh, well, you can find me at Miss Martin Muses on YouTube. I have a bi-weekly series of revisiting the TV series Once Upon a Time with some former staff members and friends of Once Upon a Fan, which I was the editor-in-chief of. We're having a blast revisiting the seasons. We're on season 2. I also will muse on anything that I find interesting, books, music, cats, and of course travel when I'm allowed to, when we don't have COVID. You can find me on Twitter, Teresa2_Martin.
Thank you, Teresa. And you'll be able to travel again, no matter who wins, probably right after the election. So I wouldn't worry about it.
Suddenly we're all going to get to travel, right?
All of a sudden, everything's going to be fine. I don't know if anybody else saw this. I saw an article that there's a vaccine that could be being distributed within 24 to 48 hours. Like, I don't know how reliable that is. So YouTube, please do not, kill me on this stream. But, I don't know. It's just craziness. But thank you, Teresa. I really do enjoy your takes. I hope you're able to, come on Monday nights when we move this Wednesday night show to Monday night.
Oh, well, thank you. I hope so too. I don't see why not.
Good.
It's not like I'm traveling anywhere.
I didn't know if you had, something. Okay, great. Perfect. I'm happy for that. Stig?
Yeah, just a guy who talks to YouTubers on YouTube.
Freaking awesome, man. You are the James Dean of YouTube, my brother. All right. So thank you guys. Seriously. Always a good time. Hopefully next Monday we'll get Christie and Jayne back in here, and hopefully Lady Tauriel will be able to use her phone or get her, her internet, which is worse than mine, which is saying a lot. So
and it seems to be I've seen this a lot when people use their phone with StreamYards. It's always problematic.
Yeah. I could be a guest. It's actually not bad on my phone. Like, I do that when I'm not, like tomorrow night, I'll be on my phone, not on here, because it's a better connection. But a lot of people have said that. Yes. It's weird. I don't know. But guys, just so everybody's up to date, I've said it probably 10 times, but yes, this show, which is our book club, will move to Monday night. Winds of Winter for now. We're just going to put it off because we only have 3 weeks left of the book club. And if we could figure out another date and time to move the Winds of Winter stuff too, we will. If not, we'll do it every, maybe once a month. And then starting next Wednesday, we will have the hump day, what did I call? The hump day dump. Yeah, I did. I said it a couple times. The hump day dump. That'll be the hump day.
For yes. Those of us who aren't American, what's hump day?
So in America, I thought that was a world thing. No, in America, they call Wednesday, as it being the middle of the week, the hump day. So, yeah.
We're over the hump.
We're over the hump, and we're about to go on to the last bit of the work week.
So hump day, dump day is like Humpty Dumpty.
Yeah. Or have you ever seen the camel commercials with the Hump Day camel?
Oh,
No.
Hump Day Camel.
Oh, you got to see that, Stig. He's the Hump Day camel for some Geico or something like that. But there we go. Thank you, Christie. It's the Humpty Dump. Oh my God, I might use that. The Humpty Dump is your chance to do the hump. All right, everybody, have a great night. And remember, if it's good or if it's done, put a spork in it.